Well, I personally feel that it's a very important contribution to the city. Yeah, because when we started off in 2000, it's just an idea of the plan, the architects and planners going through Singapore, finding places of identity, of characters that we can actually hold, make more, make something more. Then over on these southern reaches, they come through all the major road that branches out from the city. Yeah, and then along this Telok Blangah Road, what's the places of identity. They were quite hard. They had some difficulty at first in trying to see, but after stepping up back and then looking at it, at that point was Mrs. Koh was a chief planner. Yeah. So then you realize, hey, we have this nice hill parks, that is that forming the character already for this area. The idea sprung, okay, what if we can connect the hill parks together? But how to do it? So that's where they started to come out with the idea of a high level link, mid level link, turning part of the nursery into opening it up to the public. So it sort of connect up lah. So it formed this 9 kilometer all the way to Clementi Woods.
Yeah, I think the whole idea is to create a sense of surprise, a sense of place. And when we did the project, we wanted that people, when they walk along the bridge, they actually walk along a curve, so that every moment when you walk, you see a different part of the city. And one of the reasons why we decided to curve the bridge as well is to actually, on the convex side, it actually reaches out to the sea, which is on the southern part of the Singapore. And you can see today, on this bridge, you can see the port and the reflections by the bay. And whereas on the concave side of the bridge, we wanted the bridge to embrace the city, so that on the right side, when you walk, you actually see the city skyline, and over time you can see how the city grow, and it actually reflects the different stages of the growth of the city. You see the old HDB in Red Hill area, you see the port beyond, you see the central business district, and all this actually happens in the midst of a natural environment on the southern regions. And it looks complicated, but actually it is quite a simple mathematical formula. I think all of us, we have done math before, right? So actually it's just a simple trigonometric equation. It looks complicated, but actually the whole process of this mathematical design was intended to actually simplify the form and the structure. Because first of all, we wanted to create a natural form that simulates the undulating and natural terrain of the southern regions. And so we asked ourselves, how do we do that? So one of the ways is to create a curvilinear structure. And of course, back then in the AA, we were doing this research on parametric surfaces. So we thought it is quite appropriate that we apply this design methodology, and at the same time to create something that is natural and yet buildable. I think that is actually the driving idea behind the whole project.
20 meters from this side on the west to the east,
Yeah.
right? And in doing so, you had to tilt the whole to create a curve on plan, and then you got to tilt it on the
Elevation.
in elevation. So is that a challenge in writing?
Yes, I think what is good, I think it's very important that every project has some constraints. And actually, constraints do make projects better. And they do present us with a set of parameters that we have to work with. And in fact, using parametric design actually helps to ensure the accuracy of the design, knowing that we have to rise 20 meters from one end to the other end, and with with a length of 280 meters, we are able to bend the structure and raise the structure from one end to the other end precisely so that the landing point and the ending point actually mix perfectly on site, given the kind of natural terrain that we are facing. We wanted the bridge, the timber deck, to actually extend into the structure so that it also becomes a sitting and a backrest for the users. Because we wanted to create not just an infrastructure, or a bridge that simply connects two points. We wanted to do a little bit more, given that we know we are connecting the southern ridges, and it will be used as a leisure facility as well. So, given the long walk along the bridge, it would be nice to actually provide sitting area, resting area. Because why we want to do this? Because we wanted to design a more community-centric and inclusive project for the people. Because when you design for the people, you have to think about what are their needs and what are their preferences and how would they use the bridge. So we try to imagine if you are an elderly person, you have to walk this whole bridge 280 meters, definitely they will need some resting spots. So that is where we decided that we need to have something for them. And then we also thought about people on a wheelchair, on a stroller. How do they ascend the bridge from one end to the other end over 20 meters in elevation? So that was the idea to make it accessible and friendly for every user, young and old, person with disability as well as person who are able.
I think the alcove helps because it's as a public space. Because after it was open, right, my colleague was telling me, he was coming here about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then he says that, wow, there are some people lying here and looking at the stars, and some people was playing the guitar, serenading his friends away, I was like, okay, I'm very impressed that he is turning into a nice public space that is really, it's not that easy to get here, but because of it's not directly connected to any public transport. But there are still people who comes here. Good that it is next to the housing and development board's flats. Not just wedding photography. You wanted to have your wedding here, but you just missed it by a few months, right? But do you know that somebody actually had her wedding here? Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
That was.
I think that's the amazing thing. I think sometimes architecture and design can really create memory for people, and memories in the city. And I think as architects, I think this is what we try to do. We are just not designing something that looks good or something that's very stylistic, but I think we want to create something that actually for the people, and so that they can actually enjoy and create memories with their loved ones. I think that's the more meaningful part of architecture. Yeah.
Interesting story went behind is it doesn't came at the office, but was one weekend before that. And we were, of course, the competition time, and went out for a family gathering and park events in Sungai Buloh. So they had this interesting performance, and they came up with this idea of using some plant to do some dance. That is the mouse a minute. So using creepers to do a dance, and we sort of came back to the office and said how we can draw metaphorically. How can we at the same time inspired by nature, and how we can also at the same time come up with a solution which we have a relationship with the nature. So we see our architecture very much like an organic plant, which is now today you can see
it's a metal
triangulation pattern, because this mouse a mini plant is it's a creeper, it's a very
Yeah.
rigorous creeper. It attaches itself to the
Yeah.
natural topography,
Yeah.
and it has these triangular shapes,
Yeah.
which we make it
Yeah.
as a modular
Yeah.
system.
And slowly, so as you walk up the hill, the 70 meter, you're actually slowly following the creeping up of the hill part.
Metaphorically.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I should be able to imagine that the next time I walk along here.
The topography is just amazing because we're talking about, 70 meters, 20-story difference. There are many interesting features we notice. There's a valley, there's a steep cliff portion we can see, and there's also very natural wooded area. But at that time we were interested in a few things, and one
Okay.
of which is the idea of Kids Apart. And the idea of Kids Apart was very much the idea of prefabrication. So at that time our office was trying to look at how things can be modularized. This is about 10 years ago. The success of the project is because of we went into this idea of making things into modular, and therefore it can be adapted to various
Terrain.
and certain area we want to avoid. So
Yeah.
it become a highly adaptable system
Yeah.
by having this prefabricated components. And of course, I think you also understand that we have to confine ourselves within 2-meter walking zone on both sides,
Yeah.
and thereby minimize the
Yeah.
unnecessary falling of beautiful mature trees.
Yeah.
So it's not a free site,
Yeah.
per
Yeah.
se.
So that was
It-
the
So I would say, although it gives us a lot more big canvas, but it also the site has a lot of constraint.
Yeah.
Like one of them is this major, high tension cable,
Yeah.
and half of Singapore will black off if we
not
not one of
not
them.
one of them. So when you first conceive all this BRC, did you conceive as metal kind of thing?
Yeah. It is a metal. It is an engineering man-made.
Yeah.
That in itself trying to also have its own integrity and also work in dialogue with the whole hill part.
Yeah. I also noticed that because you are architect, okay, you have appreciation for something more lightweight kind of thing. So, and then your design of the bridge also, it's not like big, huge column, or big, huge support, but it's a much more sensible and more aesthetically pleasing in that sense.
I think there was one weekend when we was first open. I think that moment when I came with my family, and that weekend is no longer I'm the architect, but I'm like part of the larger crowd of people, and I saw people on wheelchair and children on stroller, and that to me that's the biggest moment of realization that
Yeah.
by making this elevated walkway accessible, it means so much to the people. And I realized the importance of the project is not so much at the technical challenges, but it's the ability for people to get
Enjoy
back
the
to
space.
nature.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
get
I
close
think
to the
and
nature.
I
surrounded by all this
I
greenery.
totally share with you that experience.
That
One way-
immersive experience
Yeah.
is so much more important.
I
And by providing this contiguous, gradient friendly, it means so much to the people, and that freedom, that freedom of for people to enjoy.
I think
talk
they were
about
very,
freedom
I
of
think
space.
they were very surprised at how close they can get to nature. I for one, if I'm not involved in the project and knowing that what's the constraint that we actually been working with, I'm like,
Yes.
oh, this was here all the while.
Yeah.
That kind of feeling.
There's always a very, we always joke among ourselves, for every step that we walk on the walkway,
Yeah.
every step you feel so easy, it is the reverse proportion of how difficult it is to construct that one step.
Yeah.